Hey everyone, I'm Bennett, this is Living My Alaska, and this is a very different kind of episode I have for you today. I bought what I think was the cheapest ATV on Facebook Marketplace that I could find in Alaska. And what I want to do is see if this thing will run, because we want to test it on a caribou hunt. And we're going to try to see how it does against the beast that's in back of it, the 1000 Can-Am 6x6. That's a 1000cc engine. This has a 250cc engine. So this is literally 25% the machine this thing is. And the question is, can this thing make it through the backcountry? The old timers here in Alaska love this machine because it's so small and it has all these really unique gear systems, and it's such a simple, reliable machine. And they could put it in a boat, they could even stick it in some types of little airplanes to fly it out to the bush. So this is more popular than that here in Alaska. But first we have to make sure this thing runs. We have oil to change, we have spark plugs to fix, we have air filters to fix, and we have differential fluids to change. And then we have to see if this thing runs and it's reliable and it's stable, because we're taking it deep into the backcountry of Alaska on a caribou hunt. Let's get to work.
It's a
So when you buy an old machine like this, there's a few things that you have to watch for, right? Again, the fundamentals for any engine, gasoline engine in this case, especially an ATV, is does it have a spark, which means a spark plug? Does it have fuel? Is it getting fuel? And can it get air? Does it have a clean air filter in it? And that's where we're going to start. But we're going to start by draining the fluids out of this thing and putting new fluids in it. And then after that, we'll see if it fires up. So what we have here is 4-stroke ATV oil, a new oil filter, and a new spark plug. And so that's essentially the basics of the kit. And then I bought this to clean the existing air filter and then re-oiling the existing air filter. And I think if we can do these things successfully, we may have a fantastic machine to ride around. Okay, let's get to work. First thing to do is drain the oil out of this thing. Right there is the drain plug for the engine oil. So we will start there. The good news is it wasn't very tight at all. Sometimes on these old machines, one of your biggest problems is getting the old rusted bolts loose. I'm always very curious to see what comes out of these machines after 30 years of living in Alaska. Oh, there it goes. The oil is black. It shouldn't be that dark black. Have a look. This is what oil looks like as it drains out into this pan. The pan's very dirty, so don't use that as a measure, but you can see the oil draining out there. So step 2 is to open the drain plug. Drain plug on this machine is in an interesting spot. It's back here, right there. I'll have to see if I can get in there. I might need some pliers or something. But now removing this, we will give just the rest of the oil out of the bottom of this machine. As you can see in there, there's still a few things dripping. And so I want to wait until this is done before I refill it. So while this is finished dripping, let's check the spark plug. So I have right here a spark plug wrench, a socket, and a brand new spark plug. We're gonna change that right now, and that will just reduce the chances of us having a problem down the road. It was not in very tight. It shows a little bit of fouling, but not too bad. That electrode looks a little bit worn because it's a little bit short there, a little bit of carbon on it. It's not terrible, it's not great, but it's not terrible. But I'm glad we're changing it. New spark plug versus old spark plug. And that makes a big difference in terms of performance, reliability, and fuel efficiency. If there's one thing that's really interesting about these plugs, that little tip on that plug right there is taller than that one. And that means that one is worn, but it's in good shape otherwise. But one of the things I've got to do before I replace this oil is we've got to replace the oil filter. And so that's next. And first I've got to locate exactly where that oil filter goes. It doesn't look like it's on this side. I don't see anything that looks like an oil filter. I have a hunch it's on the other side. Let's go to the other side. I have a hunch this is the oil filter right here, folks. This cover has to come off, and the oil filter is behind that cover and needs to be changed. All right, let's do that now. So we're slowly getting our way through here, and you can see the oil coming out here. I'm doing my best to catch it. Oil changes and fluid changes are a messy job, and the other thing you got to be careful about is to not lose these little tiny bolts and screws. I've learned from my wife, who is a registered nurse and an operating room nurse, is in the operating room they count everything that goes in and out. Every tool, every medical device is documented very closely, and at the end of a surgery they count to be sure everything that goes in also comes out. And that's sort of what I'm doing here, is paying close attention about what I take off and where, so it all goes back in like it should. I think this job would be easier if I pulled the tire off, but we get it this way. Wow, that's a long bolt. And this is the old oil filter. Yuck. Just so you know, this is the death of a machine. A dirty oil filter will absolutely kill your engine. All right, I'm gonna get a rag and wipe this up, and we'll put the new oil filter back in here, and then it's time to put the new oil in. So this is our new oil filter. This is the new O-ring that goes here, but I have another O-ring and I have no idea where that goes because I don't see one anywhere else. Possible that O-ring goes here, but I don't see anything, so I have no idea. You want to be sure this is clean so the new O-ring will seal up like it should. So this goes in here. Very good. I know this goes back on here. No clue where this goes or if it's needed. Let's see how that works. So this fits on top of there like that. I should check inside of here, see if there's anything else. I think I know where this O-ring goes. It doesn't need to go in there. The one that's in there looks to be in good shape. Back in there is where the oil filter fits this hole right there, fits over that, and there's an O-ring in there, and I can feel it up in there. It's tight and it's healthy, so we won't mess with it. New oil filter goes in. I want to clean off this area first. Get this nice and clean. Get all the old nasty oil out of there. That's good. And then our little cover goes back on, making sure this O-ring stays in place. This is your engine oil sight window. When you fill it up, this should be about 50% full on a level ground. And that's how you know you have enough oil in the engine. There's no dipstick or anything. That's how you check. It's a very low tech, but very reliable way to check to be sure you have engine oil. Okay, so we've changed the oil filter. We've drained the oil. We've put the drain plug back in. So now it's time to refill the engine oil. This is where the engine oil goes, into this fill hole there. This is the filler cap. So this funnel is going to make life a lot easier on us. And the owner's manual says 3.7 quarts. So I think we'll put about 3 and then check the status of things. That's the color of dirty oil. This is the color of clean oil. You can see it looks like golden honey versus black sludge. Why 1040 oil and why ATV oil? So the way I understand it is the ATV oil has a special formula that is better for your engine. It has an agent in it that keeps it from foaming up, and these little engines are hard on engine oil, and so it's a unique formula. Don't quote me on that. That's just how I understand it. 1040 is what they suggested for this thing in 1995, so we're not changing. I know, of course, you could go to synthetic, you could go to 5RW30 or 0W40 or whatever. The owner's manual and this cap says SAE 10W40, and so that is what we're using. The next step we do is we check the air filter. There are 2 ways you can really tell the condition of an engine and whether the owner has taken care of it or not, by looking at the air filter. And in this case, the air filter is right here, under here. Can't wait to see what we find in here. I bought this machine from a very nice gentleman in Anchorage, former military, Alaska National Guard. Very nice folks. I don't know the history. I didn't ask him where he got it. I got the impression he has not owned it very long. And so that's what we're doing now. We need to see what the air filter looks like. Ew, okay, that's not terrible. That's not awful, but it's not great. It's a little bit too oily. This should be a bright green color, and there shouldn't be these discolored areas. It's in decent shape, and somebody's oiled it, but it feels very, very oily and spongy. I think what I might do is take it out and clean it, re-oil it, and put it back in there, if I can figure out how to take it out of here. Thanks to Suzuki in 1995 for making the service of this machine easy. Okay, so this needs to be cleaned, and the way we do that is with a spray cleaner, and then we re-oil it. I find this to be way too sticky and too greasy. I don't think it's good for the engine. So we're going to clean this right now. All right, so this is new to me. We're going to try to use this. It's a K&N filter cleaning kit, air filter cleaner. So the instructions say to spray, soak this thing with this, spray it all over, let it sit for about 10 minutes, wash it gently with water, and then re-oil it. So that is what we shall do. I think the old days, we used to use gasoline or diesel to do this, but the fear is gasoline or diesel or something more harsh might destroy this filter, because I think it's glued together in certain areas, and that could destroy the glue that holds the filter together. This is the lifeblood of your engine right here. You do not want a failing air filter. It will kill your engine. Failing air filter will kill an engine quicker than bad oil. So it says to spray this fluid on both sides of the filter, inside and out. So we will do that. And I can see it's doing a great job dissolving the oil and grease that's in this thing. Look at what's coming out of this filter, guys. Yuck. That's not what you want coming out of your air filter. Pretty gross. So this is a foam filter, and you can't just put a regular foam filter in there. You've got to oil the filter as well, and that greatly increases the ability to stop dirt from getting into your engine. But it's time for a new filter. You can see this one's starting to fall apart. So I'm going to get on Amazon and order myself a new filter. I want to be gentle with this thing. I don't want it to fall apart on me before I can get a new filter. This is what we have for today. All right, that looks pretty good. I don't want to touch anything, so I'm going to let this camera run. I'm going to walk over to my water hose outside and give this a bath. Okay, everyone, I've given the filter a bath, squeezed all the water out of it, and you can see it's starting to fall apart. You can see right there and right here. So we've got to get a new filter. This will work for the purposes of this video. We'll put this back in there after we oil it, but I will get online and order a new one of these today, because my goodness, it's falling apart. So the last step in cleaning your air filter is to reapply air filter oil. So K&N was real smart about this. To ensure you have proper coverage, the spray that gets sprayed is a bright red. And so you can see this is an air filter oil specifically designed to penetrate this foam and give you some coverage, extra layer of protection. You know, when I look at the condition of the old spark plug, I think it was almost in a fouled condition because it was sucking in oil from this filter. I'm not sure who cleaned that filter last, but this filter was full of grease and oil, way too much. I don't think I apply this to the inside, just the outside. The instructions say we should let this sit for about 20 minutes and soak in, so I will do that. We have a spark plug to change, and we have front differential fluid to change. What do you say we change spark plugs? Let's do that now. Okay, everyone, you're gonna find this fascinating. There's something dead inside the air filter of this 30-year-old ATV, and I can't wait to show it to you. Check this out. I think it's a dead mouse. Looks like it's been in here for a long time inside the air filter box on this machine. Gross. If you can see right there, that's his head, and that's his fur, and that's his body. So I've got to get a pair of gloves and get that out of there right away. Sorry, I'm going to gross you guys out, but this has to be done. That is unbelievably disgusting. Oh my goodness. I don't really know if that's like a mouse or a squirrel or what. Wow. I'm really glad I stuck my head in here to check that out. That's really nasty. Okay, just a minor detour. At the beginning of this video, I talked about there's 3 things that these little machines need to run: air, fuel, and a spark. And so right now it's time to check the spark. I know we have air because I've taken off the air box. I know we've got fuel. I just put fresh fuel in this thing, and I put a fuel additive to clean out the fuel system as we run it. It's got fresh fuel in it. The last part to this test is to put a new spark plug on this thing and check that it has a spark. And here's how we do that. Here's our new spark plug. Check this out. Okay. Here's the spark plug wire. Here's our new spark plug. All right, it clicked in. So instead of putting it back into the machine, what I'm going to do is ground this spark plug on this metal here. I'm going to hold it here just like that. Don't touch the metal because it'll shock you. But what I'm looking for is a spark from the end of this electrode. And the way we do that is to just turn the machine over just a little bit. Let's see if we can make a spark. Yep. All right, we've got good spark there. It looks good. We can go ahead and put this spark plug back into the machine. I don't want to start it yet, but we'll start it pretty soon. When you rethread this in here, always thread it by hand. Never force it to be sure you don't cross thread the spark plug into the head of the engine. And the last step in getting this thing to run again is changing the front differential fluid. And it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think we can do it. The first thing we have to do is pull off these skid plates. I've already pulled off this little skid plate that was here, looks like that. And we have to get to this bolt right here is the fill plug, and the drain plug is under here. They didn't leave us an access port, so we have to pull this off, and it should be pretty easy. All right, we're almost there. There we go. Our drain plug is right here, so we need to slide our oil pan back under here. Okay, so who knows what's going to come out of here. Judging by the condition of these bolts and the nuts that came out of here, this hasn't been changed in a while, so I'm very curious to see what this looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty, but it's in pretty good shape. It's not bad at all. A little bit milky. Milky is when you have water in it, but it's still a golden color. It's in pretty good shape. This right here is a magnetic bolt. All of this gray stuff is metal shavings from the gears. As they wear down, this bolt does its job in capturing any metal that might wear the gears. So it did its job, and it's very good. So that's not too bad. I've seen far worse than that. We'll put some fresh gear oil in there, and it'll be very happy to have it. Trickiest part is going to be to get the new fluid into this gearbox. So the fill cap is here, and we have to figure out how to get our Valvoline bottle in here like that. And I think what I'll do is cock this machine on its side to pour this in. If I can do this while holding a camera and not make a complete mess. There we go. The owner's manual says it only requires about 5 ounces, which is not a whole lot. And this fluid is a lot cleaner and a lot brighter than the stuff that just came out. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, we're full. Clean up there. And we'll put the drain plug back in it. Drain plug looks to be in good shape. Fill plug to be exactly correct. We'll put this plate back in, and then we'll take this thing for a test drive. That is the big question. Will it run? Will it crank? And then will it run? So we've done all of the updates. We put fresh gasoline in it. We've cleaned the air filter. We've put a brand new spark plug. We've got new oil in the engine, and we have new differential fluid in the front differential. So it's time to see where this thing will start. It's 30 years old. I found a dead mouse in the airbox. So let's see if this thing will start. Whoa. It's alive! I'm in love with this little machine. Let's go for a ride. So if everyone's curious, this is a 1995 Suzuki Quadrunner 4-wheel drive. It has a 250cc engine, which by today's standards would be almost a children's machine, right? But this one was made in 1995, and they did some really neat things to this machine. Check this out. So it's the only machine I know with a super low, and high range reverse, and then 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and a differential lock that locks the wheels together for extra traction. Let's take it for another ride. Go down here, we'll try to climb some hills and see how the 4-wheel drive does and see if she has any power. like this idles as well as this one does, that's a very good sign that it's in good shape and it's happy. I could probably speed up the idle just a little bit, and I'll look in the book how to do that. If anyone knows how to speed up the idle just a bit by adjusting carburetor on this machine, please let me know. Put it in the comments. Okay, just another day with living by Alaska in the backcountry in this great land. See ya. Alaska truly is a great land. I consider it a blessing to share with you these moments of our amazing life. If you liked the scenes from this video, then I am super excited to show you something I think you'll really love. Join me on our next video. Let's go there right now.